Alright, so I'm just gonna get straight to it. Hi, I'm Shalon. So, I find it unique that my video was in response to my mother and not her husband, but yet he still had the most to say, which isn't uncommon. I also found it unfortunate that my mother does not seem to speak on her own. The only two worlds that I know where daddy is used is for children speaking with their fathers and women acknowledging their pimps. Her husband starts off by literally doing the very thing that I said that they would do, which honestly kind of made me feel as though their response was ironic because they validate my original video. Either A, she has some newfound moment of clarity, or B, she retreats back to daddy. In her retreat back to him, though, he does not acknowledge what I did say, but instead begins to create a new narrative of things that I did not say, which negates the effects of a response video. The two of you essentially created a new video rather than actually respond to what was actually said. You also brought up my father. My father, though, is not doing interviews talking about me. In quick regards to the 3 sons comment, under the context in which your husband was speaking, by your rationale, Ma, he should have easily had no problem saying 4 sons, especially since you say he knew me before I knew me. The two of you can sometimes come off as seekers of weak levels of empathy from others while at the same time sidestepping any accountability that one may need to take. To attempt to address what I said to another man while also trying to make your wife victim number 1 has nothing to do with you. My father did not need you to speak for him. You're her daddy, not his. My mother has been speaking on our relationship for years, so to imply that only one side of a story was told when there are several articles and interviews throughout the internet discussing my strained relationship with her, filled with quotes from your wife speaking directly about me while also providing vague context and downplaying the impact of an uninterested mother. I am 33 years old and have had ample opportunity to go to the media and tell some BS story for a BS amount of money, but instead I am on TikTok expressing my feelings for free. If the two of them were paying attention, I literally explained in my first video why I am responding using TikTok. And I should not have to repeat myself. My mother also states there are some people that are saying, oh, you should be ashamed of your mothering skills. You should be ashamed of yourself. This is what I say. Let's let it play out. Because the same ones that were saying, oh, I was crazy, I was deranged, we watched it play out. So just like with my son, we're going to watch this play out. First of all, who the hell is we if it ain't you and I reconciling our relationship? Second of all, it's power in a word. Nobody is playing, but I can understand why you would use that word specifically. As you stated in the Clip Shay Shay interview, you had the mentality of a 15-year-old child. You required a man to raise you, and you were acting like a little girl. These are your words. It doesn't matter what context I have them in. This is how you thought of yourself as a grown adult who was someone's mother. Last time I checked, MoNique fans, a 15-year-old grown adult who acts like a child but is in search of their daddy, they don't typically make efficient parents. But hey, I could be wrong. On a more serious note, to sit there and allow your daddy to address my mental health in a weak attempt to pass my response off as a moment is disturbing and insulting to those of us who do have mental health issues. The way I presented myself was no different than my mother and her daddy presented themselves when addressing DL Hughley. And her precious sweet babies ate it up. DL is wrong because he's so loud. Mo and daddy are right because they're so calm. But I, for some reason, don't get the same energy. To simply try to call me crazy is dismissive and cowardice. Attacking somebody's mental status is a clear sign that you have zero to stand on. Furthermore, what kind of person still has a text message from their wife's son that is over 2 years old, still in their phone, saved just for the purpose of re-showing it to him? What I specifically remember about that message is that at the end of it, you said something along the lines of, if you don't respond, I understand. I could care less about what your message was about, but for you to say in the message, if you don't respond, I understand, why was it then that when you and I did speak, after that message was sent, the first question out of your mouth is, hey man, how come you didn't respond to my text message? I found that to be very unique, but I did not need an explanation on how to speak to women or how to listen to women. That was not what that situation was about. My mother showed me how conceited she is in that situation that you were referring to. For a woman to villainize the actions of her son for being a man and a father to his new family simply because she had not heard from him in 2 days, as though her phone was broken and she could not check on me. Because last time I checked, I was a new parent. I didn't get a new house. I didn't go on vacation. I didn't just get a new game system. I had a baby. And in those 2 days that you did not hear from me, I was handling my business as a man and a father. But I'll assume your phone and the phones of those around you were all broken, which I wanted to believe was the reason why you did not respond to a message from your son expressing his concern over some bumps that your grandchild had on her back. You would later make it your business to tell me that you got the message and chose not to respond because her other grandmother is a nurse. Damn the fact that she is also your blood. And shout out to Nana. My baby girl loves her some Nana. The statement about money and then stating, don't let nobody introduce me to you, is not a competent statement to make because it wasn't a complete sentence, nor did the two things correlate with each other. And when did you have the time to introduce yourself to a son that you weren't interested in and didn't do the best job you could do? I'm starting to think that you're not hearing yourself. To address money, you gave me $10,000 for a down payment on a car. Yes, thank you again. Thank you. My girlfriend and I were already prepared to put our money together and get a car. You and your husband called us one day and stated that y'all were going to give us $5,000 for a down payment. We said, okay. You then called us back a day or two later and stated that you would be giving us $10,000 for a down payment on the car. You and him made the conscious choice to give us that money. We did not ask you for anything, but this is an example of a rich person doing something for you. And because this is, an example of a rich person doing something for you because they want to do it for you, but because it doesn't have the desired effect that they want it to have, you are inconsiderate and ungrateful. But let's take it a step further. I eventually would uncover that my mother had left me a UTMA worth $45,000. You never brought that account to my attention. You claim it was because you forgot that you even set it up in the first place, which validates my original point. Who forgets that they invested $45,000 into a child that at that time is the only child? When I was homeless and I called you to help me figure out how to access the account, you said, Shalon, I don't even know what you're talking about, and if I did, why do you think I would help you? After finding out from the Georgia Department of Revenue that they had been sending me mail to 3 separate Georgia addresses, all of which I lived at with you at some point or another. For the life of me, I can't grasp how those letters managed to slip by so many people at 3 different locations. I did, however, eventually get access to the money and the brokerage account that you had set up for me with Morgan Stanley. To be fair, what you put together for me was amazing, especially had I let it sit for a year or two, which made it bittersweet that you wouldn't have wanted to help or even educate me on how to manage what I had. My blowing through that money is all on me, and I have to take my accountability for that, and it's a lesson learned. Sydney stated that the last time that him and I spoke, I wanted to call him Dad. The actual truth is that I wanted to call him Pop. Calling you Uncle Sydney, but my mother calls you Daddy, and the boys call you Daddy. It was getting a little awkward. And yes, for a very short time, I did feel that way about you, but the more things change, the more they stay the same. Oh, Black Jesus. I do just want to really quickly give a really, really big thank you to the support that I've received throughout this. I didn't think that that was something that was going to happen. I didn't make that video to have a tennis match with my mother. I do not plan on making any more videos. This is it. I've said what I wanted to say. To me, if you're not going to acknowledge, you've already shown me that you don't care enough to acknowledge what I did say, so I definitely don't have the expectation that you're going to acknowledge now what I'm saying. So it is what it is. But once again, I want to say thank you again, man. That day before I posted that original video, I went to sleep with 25 followers that I probably could name all. I could probably name all 25 of those people. I think I have over like 12,000 followers now. That's really cool, man. I really appreciate that. But I just can't say thank you enough. I know I sound like a broken record, but I do appreciate the love. And best of luck to my mother and Sydney. And I hope that the Cat Williams tour is incredible. I really, really do. But when it comes to me, I am going to enjoy being a dad and being a man and just going through life, man. I don't want to be famous or notorious for being someone's neglected kid. I don't want that to be my story. And I only said what I said just to provide context, not to become anything. But y'all be safe, man. Peace.
Hello. So you just saw a video of Shalon responding back to his mother, and again he did it in a very articulate way. He had more passion but still respectful, and you know, it's a lot of respect that he showed his mother that he probably doesn't need to, considering that she abandoned him and wasn't there for him, in her own words. Now with that being said, in my last video I made about this, I was kind of upset and a little emotional, and rightfully so, I think. But I will say this, that I saw that how Sydney, I think that's his name, Sydney, Uncle Sid, you could tell that he's been in the way in between their relationship. Just like he's in the way of a lot of MoNique's relationships, business and personal, apparently now. And if you look at the text messages that MoNique tried putting out to show that she has been supportive, first off, it's what I think they were dated 2021. I may put some in the video here. On top of that, the last message was from Sid, which I'm questioning, did he write that from her phone? Because you notice that one was pretty cropped to where you couldn't see the date and everything. And if so, that just proves the point that how he stands in the way of a relationship. So those messages were so cut and dry, so basic. There was no, you can tell that they were trying to grab at something that wasn't there. At least that's how I felt when I read those messages. And MoNique just needs to stay off the internet in this situation. I know she's probably feeling more vindicated and more prideful, and you know, I fought the good fight. I showed my proof against Tyler Perry and Oprah, and now people are on my side. They're going to do the same thing for my son, yada, yada, yada. I guarantee you, if she keeps going down this path, she's going to lose so much followers and lose a lot of deals and supporters. Ideally, what I believe she should do is get off the damn internet and just call her son or drive to his house without her freaking husband. So they just have a one-on-one talk. Because in that video, Sydney was very controlling, talking about MoNique's son to everyone. She didn't say that she was just sitting there rocking back and forth and smiling and looking all disgruntled or constipated or whatever you want to call it. Kind of like an old black woman in church when they hear the reverend saying something that's really agreeable to their soul. MoNique can do better. And I think it's, in their words, not to call them out, but to call them up to go ahead and be that better person. And being that better person is Sydney knowing, hey, I need to step out of this. And MoNique's like, hey, you're my husband. I love you. But I got to fix this with my son so I can have a relationship with my granddaughter. And if she can't do that, and again, those text messages made her look worse, because the only text messages you can send or show the public, which I don't think she should have done that, because that's personal information between those two. I'm pretty sure she probably left some parts out or deleted something that made her look bad. Between her and her son is not a public, figure, right? I mean, I think he's saying that he is a comic, but he hasn't done any specials or shows from what I've seen, or I know. I don't know yet. But I tell you what though, just like how he said in his video, he had like 25 followers. Now he has like, well, I checked today, he had like 20,000 at the time of me recording this video. I would definitely support any comedy endeavor he goes on if he chooses to do so. Just for the way that he has handled himself, even though he didn't have a mother, and he doesn't mention the relationship with his father, but somebody had to help raise him to be a very respectable, strong man, because it takes strength to stand up against your mother, and not just your mother, and your stepfather. And yeah, I know she said that they all have a good relationship with Shalon's father, MoNique's baby daddy. But truthfully, if it was me and this was going on, or that relationship I would have had with my baby mother went out the door. You don't sit here and try to embarrass my son. I don't care if my son is 30, 25, or 15. You're not going to embarrass my son. And I'm not going to let a man talk down to my son for no reason when you can't even talk up for yourself. They're all about accountability and bringing people up and calling to action, all this other kind of stuff. And MoNique has admitted that she was not the greatest mother and she abandoned her child essentially. But where is the accountability in her calling herself up? Like I said before, she's on that Cat Williams tour right now. And there's so much backlash with all this. I really do feel she may end up losing her spot on Cat's tour. It's time to put down the phone, turn off the camera, and just frankly, just shut up, MoNique, and talk to your son directly. Because you called him out publicly. You've been talking about him out publicly plenty of times. So he finally decided, you know what? I'm going to speak up publicly since you cannot talk to me privately. You know, you can pray all you want for a relationship with your son, so you said in a Club Shay Shay interview. But it takes action to prayer to make your prayers come true. You just can't sit there and pray. And maybe if you would have had more action when it came to this whole entire Tyler Perry and Oprah Winfrey and Netflix, and you went out and still worked instead of sitting here waiting, maybe things would have gone a lot better for you a lot faster. But now, people are looking at you sideways because if you can sit here and be difficult and your husband is running interference, being difficult with your son, I can imagine how you are with people that you have no relation to. Which kind of giving credence to what they said MoNique is hard to work with. They probably should have said MoNique's husband is hard to work with. Anyways, you guys tell me what you think. If you're still watching, like, comment, and subscribe. I may post some of those text messages, maybe the first one, or maybe the last one. Maybe the first one and last one, the rest of them out. But it's just sad to see. That's why I keep saying I don't give two cares about MoNique. Something never sat right with her in my spirit. It could be the husband. It could be both of them. I don't know. But you guys let me know what you think. Thank you.